It is 8:03. I'm a couple of minutes late. Had to do the TV thing. Hope that's okay. But this is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully getting your day started off on the right note. It is beautiful outside, but I've got to tell you, we're tracking little pockets of fog or low cloudiness, perhaps. Here's a shot from our tourist district tower cam, and I think that this tells the story pretty well. You can see there's the casting center in the foreground. What you don't see, though, in the distance is Epcot, Spaceship Earth, or, any of the other elements further down because of that haze that's around. Kind of a neat perspective would be this tower cam shot downtown looking off toward the tourist district, and you could see some of that fog, some of that haze around. Let's come around and see what's doing over at the Orlando International. That camera's down. Of course it's down. All right. We'll head up to Ocala, gray skies already. We're going to see a mostly cloudy sky today, so keep that in mind. Melbourne Airport, I see some blue, looks lovely. Let's head over to our Coco Tower cam, looking up toward the Vehicle Assembly Building. This, a little bit of haze, but remember, the VAB is pretty far away from this tower cam's perspective, so there's that. You've got the Rocket Garden at the visitor center there at the center of the screen. You can see shuttle on the right, and way off in the distance you see the lightning rods from Launch Complex 39B. It's B. So anyway, kind of interesting shot. A little bit of haze around. Let's head up and see what's doing up in New Smyrna Beach, and it is just beautiful. Just a beautiful Friday morning. Rise and shine, my friends. So we had some showers and storms yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, that's okay. We're gonna have the same thing looking ahead to today. Here's a look at our forecast. The top two things that we are monitoring. First off, a couple of storms today. We actually look for more storms, though, tomorrow, and those storms are going to give us the threat for stronger weather, so that's definitely something to monitor. And then afterward, the weather forecast turns cold, even if it is a relatively short-lived cold stretch. Yeah, all right, so lots to talk about. I've already slammed through my coffee, so we're over to water now. But water's pretty good. First warning live Doppler radar, scanning around, not seeing anything over top of us. There's some rain off the shoreline there. You can see it, that line out over the Gulf Stream water. I'll lapse it, and the good news, it's not coming here to bother us, okay? Temperatures out the door look like this. We're in the 60s for all of Central Florida, approaching 70 degrees, and our 12-hour forecast shows the mostly cloudy skies. It also shows this afternoon 10, 20, 30%. So we're getting into the shower and thunderstorm chances today. Temperatures climbing into the lower 80s around lunchtime. 85 degrees. Good gravy. 85 degrees, our high temp. It's going to be a warm day in Central Florida. So it's looking good. Notice winds out of the south, 15 miles an hour. It's a nice, warm, breezy day in the neighborhood. Yep. Questions so far, comments so far. I just put my outdoor cushions out. Rain question mark? Yeah, Jeannie, we've got a 30% coverage of rain today, but looking to tomorrow, I would say you're gonna wanna bring them in, especially if you live further north, just because we've got some nastier storms moving in. So let's get right to the overall dynamics, okay? For today, we watch this old frontal boundary help us with a few opportunities for rain, but over the course of this afternoon and evening, a storm system actually develops on that and works toward the Big Bend. And being that we'll be on kind of the right side of that, we're going to be funneling in that warm, moist air, and that's going to put us into the threat for strong to severe storms. So looking ahead to tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center has placed parts of our area under a level 2 risk for scattered strong to severe storms. It's our northernmost areas, but keep that in mind. So what is this graphic? This graphic illustrates the risk for severe weather, okay? It's on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 of course being the worst, 1 being the lowest. The metro area, the I-4 metro, highlighted in green here, is under a level 1 out of 5 risk, meaning out of all the rain that we get tomorrow, all the storms we get tomorrow, a couple of those isolated pockets could get stronger. That's still a decent threat. In all honesty, any of these colors showing up is a decent threat. But you go north of town, the dynamics look to be just a little bit higher. So now you're into a scattered threat, meaning that several of those cells may get strong to severe, okay? So just keep that in mind for tomorrow. Tomorrow is stormy weather, but the atmosphere has just a little extra charge to it. So we have that little bit more opportunity to get some stronger storms. Mickey says earlier this week you were showing a sounding. Can we see a sounding for tomorrow for the severe weather potential? Of course, it is so much easier to do that at home on my computer than it is here just because of the way that it's set up. But I can show you let me see if I can pull up the SKU-T for tomorrow. That's not as easy because I'm literally, the computer I'm talking to you on is in a completely different room, and so it makes it, let me see if I can find it and pull it up here. Okay, all right, XMR, give it a second. Text SKU-T XMR. All right. So here's an example. Copy image address. All right. Let me bring this over. Give me a few seconds. You ask, and I will always do my best. Right. All right. Okay, so that is the current sounding. Okay, so let's just analyze this together. Okay, that's the most recent sounding from the nearest station. Okay, and anytime you see the goalposts, you've got a nice big departure. So a couple of things to notice here, and I'll bring it full screen for you. And it'll be more interesting. Let's look at this again tomorrow, right? Okay, this is 0Z, so this is last night's balloon, so it's not even current. Another balloon theoretically is on its way up now, so we'll have another sounding shortly. But this is an idea, and if you look like if you look at just kind of the center of the screen, and this is why it's easier to do this at home because I can move my mouse, and I just can't do that here. But if you look, you've got the graphic, then you've got wind barbs, and then you've got a bunch of text. So look at the wind barbs for a second. What you're seeing is some turn with height. Okay, so that's the first element there, is a little turn with height, a little shear is what we call it. So this is how we can determine that. It looks like a little bit of a wind streak at 250 millibars, about halfway up. When it comes to the indices for severe weather, on the right, those text elements play in. So you're talking about the Cape at 155. You're talking about the Showalter index at 1.3. You're talking about the lifted index. There's all different things, precipitable water. So you really get into a lot of these different levels. And I'm just not going to bore the snot out of everybody by looking at all of this. But I could tell you that this is something that we'll definitely, be looking at these next 24 hours time. But it's a good thing to bring up. I appreciate you bringing that up because, this is the time frame where in Central Florida we do look to our heights and our soundings to look. So for severe weather, and there are ways that I can plot a computer model's idea of what the sounding will look like tomorrow. But you get the idea. So anyway, that's total nerd stuff, and that's okay. I'm always here to chat a little bit at least about it and nerd out a little bit. But that's why, though, given the dynamics, a little bit of wind shear, etc., that's why we've got tomorrow highlighted as a first warning impact day, okay? Because we've got that shear, there's a little bit of lift in the atmosphere, enough instability. We don't think that it's going to be a hail kind of event. If we look at the overall threats, the temperatures with height, all that fun stuff, I think that this is more of a tornado and damaging wind type parameter, okay? All right? Janice says, I like nerd stuff. Chris says, someday you should bore the snot out of us teaching this. Listen, I feel like, if I'm 100% honest, there's a definitive line between being a broadcast meteorologist and teaching a little bit versus a college professor. I leave it up to you to go bore the snot out of yourself. I am going to nerd out, but I'm not, I don't want to get into the true nitty gritty. It takes way too much time. So A great website one of my college professors has put together, theweatherprediction.com. You can get all of the SKU-T stuff, all of it, on theweatherprediction.com. All right, so I do suggest that website, among others. Yeah. Cheryl says, Eric's Weather Nerds. Love it. I love it. I love it. And I'll always point you in the direction to bore the snot out of yourself. But as a broadcast man, truthfully, my goal is to teach you, but just enough to wet your whistle. Like, go bore the snot out of yourself. Right? It just takes way too long to get into it. But at any rate, we've got lift, we've got instability, so tornadoes are a concern and damaging winds are a concern. And we're going to fine tune this looking ahead to tomorrow, because the overall idea here, again, as I'd mentioned, is where exactly does that low form and exactly where does it track over the peninsula? If it's a little further north, that threat for the strongest weather is going to shift further to the north. If it's a little further south, let me tell you something. We're going to get some stormy weather, okay? But somebody is going to get a pretty active weather pattern, okay? So for us, I think straight-lined winds, yeah. Severe damaging winds, that is a concern. And then there's the tornado threat. Hail is pretty low on the totem pole, okay? So there's that, all right? So that's for tomorrow. So as we make plans for the day, let's just put this together, okay? For the day itself, hold on one second. Ernesto, tower cam to Dub. Thanks, bud. So the morning, we're probably going to be getting into some showers. That's fine, okay? Cloudy skies. I'll be with you. All right, I'll be with you for West 2 News Sunrise. Then we're going to look into midday and afternoon developing showers and thunder showers, some of which are going to get a little feisty, okay? All right, so I'm going to go do TV here in a minute, okay? I'm going to go do TV here in a minute, but what I do ask you to do, hang tight, talk amongst yourselves, and post a question. When I come back, I will get to the questions, right? All right, just dialing that up and getting that ready. Where is it? Let me see where we are in the rundown here. 8 o'clock, 8:15, this story. Okay, so there's a couple of VOs before. All right, any questions before I go? Any questions? My brother's visiting from Massachusetts. Are there any rocket launches this week? There's one scheduled early, like late Saturday night into early Sunday. But the weather forecast doesn't look good. Yeah, it doesn't look good. Just being honest with you. Feisty like Eric dealing with trolls. That's right. You know it, Taylor. You know it. Debbie says, loving nerdy. Look, I'm all about looking at the SKU-T again for tomorrow. All right, 2 VOs. I'm going to go do TV. Join me. I'll see you on TV in a couple seconds. Oh, I got to put my jacket on. Dang it. Ugh. Okay, did you guys see this? 33 engines, 31 lit. This is eventually going to be launching from the Cape over at the Kennedy Space Center. The biggest rocket ever by a long shot.
Tweeted that the power of the 31 engines would still be enough to reach orbit.
Back here in Central Florida, SpaceX is gearing up for a Falcon 9 rocket launch. It's set to send out another batch of Starlink satellites late Saturday night. The launch window at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station opens at 11:42.
8:17 right now, and we are off to a, depending on where you are, cloudy start.
Yeah.
But when's this all going to clear out? What is that look?
I felt judged for a second.
I was going to say, I feel
You
like
saw that, right? She's like,
I don't know. I don't know if your energy was matching mine. I don't know what was going on.
that was the look I get when I forget something at the supermarket and the wife is just like, oh, you forgot.
Well, did she give you a list?
But did I check it twice? No. All right, let's talk about things. So we were talking about the clouds. We're talking about the rain. We had some yesterday. We're going to get a little more today. Take a look at this shot. This is a live look from Coco up toward the Vehicle Assembly Building. You can see on the left, on the center of your screen, if you look closely, that's the Rocket Garden over at the Visitor Complex at the Kennedy Space Center. So very cool stuff. Current temperature there, upper range of the 60s. We're in the upper 60s as well in Orlando. 67 degrees in Claremont, 66 here in Ocala. First warning, live Doppler radar, not tracking anything. These are actually birds, so no rain there. There is some shower activity off the shoreline, but that will stay put. We are looking great on a Friday morning. In terms of the forecast, let's take you through time, all right? 77 11 o'clock, lower 80s by 1 o'clock. We'll get into the warm register of the mid 80s by 3 p.m. And it's around 3 p.m. that Futurecast is trying to paint in a few showers and even thunder showers, similar to yesterday, but perhaps a bit of an earlier start. Here's a look at temperatures, okay? Let's just start there. Nice and warm, 85 degrees in Orlando, 82 degrees in Leesburg and the Villages, 83 in Wildwood, and into the lower 80s back over toward the I-95 corridor. I think we'll get close to records, but I don't think we're quite going to get there today. So it's a warm day for sure. Here's Futurecast showing that by 4:30 or so, we'll already be popcorning up some rain around the metro area and then pushing everything off toward the East Coast beaches just thereafter. Then, while this is happening, we watch the Gulf of Mexico as a storm system develops and works toward the Florida Peninsula, or the Big Bend, I should say. Depending on its exact trajectory, its exact course, we're looking at the threat for some stronger storms. And based on current thinking and current modeling, we think that the highest coverage of nastier weather will be in our northern areas and points to the north. So Gainesville, Jacksonville, Palm Coast, St. Augustine, down through about Daytona Beach, DeLand, Orange City, Lake Mac, back over toward like the Villages, Lady Lake. Areas highlighted in yellow have a level 2 or scattered risk for strong to severe storms. That's 2 out of 5. Into the metro area, highlighted in green, it's a lower isolated risk for strong to severe storms. So all in all, for tomorrow, I think we're going to get some gusty winds in these storms, but we could be talking about a low-end threat of damaging winds and a low-end threat of even isolated tornadoes. So we'll start your Saturday with some showers north of town. Keep it cloudy, but notice by 3-4 o'clock, the radar starts to light up. Today, 30% chance of showers and thunder showers. Tomorrow, a 70% coverage of storms in the afternoon, some of which will get stronger and then turning much chillier and beautiful for your Super Bowl Sunday, staying nice for the week. Megan. Okay, she did give a look, right? I don't know if you guys and gals saw it, but there was a look. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. I'm probably crazy. Yeah. All right. So any questions, comments, concerns about the overall forecast for us next couple of days? I'll put up the 7-day forecast while we're chatting. Let me go play catch up and see if I missed any of the comments. Say, loving nerdy weather, coffee mugs. Anything? That's going to get scrubbed. I hear him giggling. Oh, Taylor, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I am not anticipating a rocket launch. Honestly, it just doesn't seem like it's a thing. Who forgot the bottom button? You never button the bottom button on the suit jacket. Oh, Jeannie, thank you. You like the pocket square? I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beverly, you may have answered this before, but how do you know where to point on the green screen? Are you glancing at a nearby screen for reference? Yeah, on either side of the green screen, there are televisions. So yeah, you can see that. Jeannie says 87. I see a freaking 87 next week. No, totally, you totally do. No, you totally do. I know. When I was typing it in, I was like, I can't. Wait, where's my icon? Oh, it's a new icon, so it doesn't show up. All right, hold on a second. I have to restart the program. I Gewalt. It's a new icon, so I have to restart the program to get it to show up. I made the icon this morning. Ellis, I hear rain for Tampa this weekend. There's gonna be rain for like Central Florida this weekend. East Coast, West Coast, all of it. How many birds does it take to show up on radar? Carol, you know, it depends on atmospheric conditions, honestly. If the atmosphere is moist enough and you get just enough of that refraction, yeah, you could be talking about it to be pretty easy. Yeah. Epcot Day Saturday, what should I expect? So I would say, you know, if we're looking at plans for Saturday, here, let me pull up the planner. I would say most of the day is going to be fine. Honestly, most of the day is going to be fine. It's into the afternoon that you get into those stronger storms. So I would just say, aside from a few showers, you should be good to go. Yeah. You could play weatherman at Orlando Science Museum if they still have the exhibit. They do. I've done that with my son a few times, yeah. But where's Kyle? Kelly's asking. So because we've got a threat for strong to severe storms tomorrow, we had to push the Coffee Talk drive-through once again. So I can promise you guys and gals, we will have Kyle Gravelin, barring any severe weather. We'll have Kyle next week. And let me also mention, forgot to mention this like right off the top. Do you know who responded back to me yesterday? Dave Marsh. Let me read to you his email, okay? There was somewhat of a like adorable nature to it. So I wrote to him, my name is Eric Burris, meteorologist in your old stomping grounds at WESH. We met at a WESH party several years ago, yada, 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 yada. His response, Eric, now that I'm in my 16th year of retirement, I find it amazing anyone would remember my TV days, but it would be fun to join you on Coffee Talk. So, y'all, we've got Dave Marsh. How about that? How about that? Sheldon, I'm going to have Dave Marsh on Coffee Talk.
Oh, what a throwback.
See, he remembers Dave Marsh. Yeah, so Dave Marsh is good to go. 16th year of retirement, he said, when he emailed me back yesterday.
Wow, it's been that long.
It's been that long. Sheldon, like me, is a Central Florida native. Well, Sonica too. Do you remember Dave Marsh? I know you're much younger.
She's not that much younger.
I am pretty young, aren't I?
No, like what?
So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I very much look forward to having Dave. Yeah. Debbie says he would be a great guest. It would just be fun to check in and see like memories, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. You know who else I'm going to have on Coffee Talk? Kyle Gravelin. Oh yeah. He was supposed to be today. But with weather, yeah. Everybody laughed at that one as well. Go ahead. You can wait. Sonica has garnered my attention. Go ahead. When? He was supposed to be today. We're going to do next Friday. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know who that is. Didn't pay attention to weather until. Oh, thank you, Rosebud. You sweetheart. Thank you. Charity, I remember Dave Marsh. I've been in Florida that long. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. 16 years retired. Boy, what that tells me is that it's crazy when you hear something like that just hits you in the head with reality on how time has flown, right? Seems our weather around Palm Coast happens before your area, or we miss it completely. Yeah, sometimes if these fronts come on in, yeah. Does Sheldon watch Coffee Talk? Sheldon's anchoring the news at this time, so that's the struggle. Is it's not as easy for him to watch. Yeah. Oh well. Sorry. Kyle and Sonica were my weekenders. Yeah, they were. Yeah. So I texted Kyle yesterday. Had to pass that up. We've got a Today Show cut in. All right, people. So that's where we're at. We're going to be tracking the threat for strong to severe storms tomorrow. Okay. Sound good? Sound good. Listen, I will see you at 3:30 this afternoon for the afternoon Coffee Talk update. Okay. All right. Listen. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you on TV in like 2 seconds.